Okay, so this is the Igloo core engine. I've overlaid down in the bottom right here somewhere. You should be able to see a live view of what's actually happening inside the Igloo as we go through this. But I'm just going to take you through some of the obvious things that you might need to know about getting content on in here. This tutorial is not going to be about how to use this software in depth. I just want to give you an overview of when you're bringing content for the Igloo, this is how we will be putting it on, so it's something to be aware of. Okay, so on the left here, we have two layers currently hidden. So a bit like Photoshop or After Effects, you have a layer-based system where you can hide and show. Over here, we can see a preview of what's happening in the Igloo. So this bottom section down here is the floor, whereas this strip at the top is the walls. So as I move my mouse around inside here, you should actually see on the camera view the mouse moving around. I'm not sure where it's actually pointing at the moment, but as I move all the way over to the left, it doesn't come back onto the right, it stops over here, and then on the right, this is the right hand side of the screen. So essentially it's just a very large horizontal monitor at the top here. The floor section down here, if I bring on a piece of content, I'll take you through this a little bit better in a minute, but if I add new content, an image, and find an image on this computer, let's just put anything. We now have brought in an image onto the Igloo core engine, and it's currently on the wall, so you should see that on your webcam view there. We can move the scale up and down, and as you see, as I start to increase the scale of it, it's starting to blend into the floor region, which is a circle and floor down here. So if I make this a little bit smaller and move it down, this should now be on the floor. If I bring it back up, you'll start to see as I do that, it will slowly bleed back into the walls. So if I start moving this back up, you see it come onto the walls here. And if you make it small enough so it's just on the top strip there, it should completely disappear from the floor. Okay, so back to this layer system on the left here. You saw me add an image there. I'm just going to right click and remove that. In the Igloo we have a lot of buttons on the desktop. When you click on one of these buttons, it loads up the corresponding session. So a session is a collection of layers. So at the moment we just have two layers. We have the background and we have the home screen. So if I turn the background off, the background is gone. If I turn it back on, it's gone. Same with the home screen and back on. So if I click on one of these buttons, for example this one, you can see it's loaded up a 360-degree video. We can see the floor section on the floor here, and we can see the wall section here. If I hide this, it will disappear. If I bring it back on, it's there. And what I'd like to talk you through is like how to create media like this so that it works nicely in the Igloo for whoever's watching. I'm going to press the home button, which is going to go unload this session. So this session consists of this video at the moment and these two layers. So if I press home, it loads our default workspace. And we've got our buttons back on the screen. So when we bring something into the Igloo, we will be loading up layers. So if I press the plus button here, it shows you a list of all the different types of layers that we can bring in. So we can bring in an image, we can bring in a video, a PDF. A web view is will bring up an actual web interface so that you can load up websites. YouTube, you can load up a 360 video on YouTube, which will map correctly to the screen. Or a non-360 video, which is just a simple one. And so you could put a couple of different YouTube videos on and dot them around the screen if you wanted to. Capture, Spout is for using Unreal Engine or Unity applications or anything else that sends out an image that can be picked up by the Igloo. NDI is a similar network-based interface where you can stream things into the Igloo or out of the Igloo. I think DataPath and Blackmagic are specifically to do with camera recording systems. Loopback is a screen recording of the software itself. And AppView is to record a application view. So if you've loaded up Microsoft Paint or whatever and you wanted to broadcast that into the Igloo, you can do that using AppView. So that's the list of all the different types of content that we can bring in here. Okay, so bringing a video into the Igloo. So supposing you've made a video that you want to map onto this the wall, this large, long, horizontal canvas here. The way that you would do it is press the plus button up here, new content, and video. Down here we've got the file path, so if we browse to a file that we've made, so if I press this and go to one of the examples that I've previously made, and press open, the video will launch and you can see it's in the middle of the screen, it's currently paused. I'm going to start it playing just so that we can see what's going on here. So if I press play, off it goes. And this video, I've done the floor and the walls in one video. So what I'm going to do is just scale this up using this scale slider till it goes across the entire canvas. So if you set your videos up correctly for use of the floor and the walls, you should have a resolution that's just down here. This isn't quite right. It should be a 11914 by 4872. I'll probably put that on the screen or in the documents for this. So 11914 by 4872 is the size of the whole width of the walls and the whole area of the floor, like this entire square that you can see here. If you're only going to be using the walls up here, you want to make a video that is 11914 by 1080. I'll show you an example of that. So if I change a video here to something that is just the walls on its own, I think this Ford video is just the walls. You can see now we've just got a single long video here. I'm going to move it up in Y until it's actually on the screen there, and then I'm going to press the play button. And we'll see that start to play purely on the walls and not down here on the floor. So creating these, it's just like creating a very long, narrow video in After Effects or Premiere or whatever video editing package that you have, and bringing it into here. As long as you've used the right resolution, we can put it to the top here and it will play nicely on the walls. One thing to be aware of is wrapping between the left and the right. So if you put something on, if you put some content here, let me just fast forward this video to show you an example where something actually gets to the edge of the screen. If something comes off the left-hand side of the screen here and doesn't come back onto the right, you will see in the Igloo itself, the object will just disappear. So the way that this is mapped together, I'm going to jump into a piece of software called Blender, where I've made just a demonstration for you, just to kind of show you exactly how the geometry in the Igloo is put together. So we'll jump over there now. Okay, so we're in a 3D program called Blender now, just to kind of show you how the Igloo geometry is kind of mapped together. So this is a 3D representation of what's happening in the Igloo. You can see we have an image on the walls and we have an image on the floor. Now, just like in ICE, the Igloo Core Engine software we had a look at a second ago, this is what's actually being displayed. So as I start to draw on the floor here, you can see that's popping up onto the floor section here. And as I start to draw on the walls, that's popping up where the walls are. But this blue section down here, as I start to draw down, can you see just over here, any pixels that you put in this section here, if you're doing a full video for the wall and the floor, actually going to be kind of in this void, which isn't going to be projected at all. So I can put anything I want around here, and it's not going to pop up in the viewport or on the Igloo projection at all. So this is kind of unwrapped so that the projectors on the wall are actually projecting a different image to the one on the floor. So this section at the bottom being the floor, this one at the top being the walls. So what's actually happening here is they've mapped the room so as if you'd cut off a section here. This just around here you can see we've got the right edge here and the left edge here, and over here we've got the left edge and the right edge. So anything, if you start to draw over here, you'll see that pop up on the left edge, but as soon as it hits that wall there, I can't keep on going over here unless you do a copy of it over here, and it will kind of start to line up there. So you can kind of do tricks in After Effects and Premiere to kind of compensate for this region that you're going to have problems with if you're going between here from one side to another. So let me just get rid of those. So yeah, the way that they've done it is as if you've got some scissors out and you've cut down this this hole here. This line, and then flattened it out. So if you did something like this, you start to see this is starting to resemble what they've got over here inside the Igloo Core Engine. So essentially, we're recreating this wall strip at the top, which is this wall strip here, and then the floor on its own over here. But it's just been wrapped around like so into a cylinder. So anything that you put in content-wise, if you put in the middle of the screen here, is always going to be in the middle of our igloo. Anything on the floor in the middle is going to be in the middle of the floor. Anything to the edges is going to be around the edge up here, up here. So anything that's here will map to somewhere around here, I imagine. Yeah, you can see them kind of come into view there. Similarly, like at the back right edge here, down here, that will be back here. And if I try and find the corresponding point, I'm assuming it's going to be around here on the floor. Oop, got that wrong, it's on the other side. Because this bit is pulled around to the other side, so that's going to be around there. So you can see that's starting to match up there. So if you're trying to get things bleeding in between the walls and the floor, just be aware that the geometry isn't exactly how you'd expect. So something here is actually going to come out here. Okay, so when creating videos for the Igloo, there are different file formats that it recognizes and will play back okay. So if I go to video here and have a look at browser, you can see the list of file types that it supports. So we've got MOVs, MP4s, AVIs, WebMs. The rest of them are MKV, sorry, and the rest of them are audio formats. But creating something that is an MP4 or an AVI at the size of this this canvas, if you're going for the full 11914 by 4872, I think the maximum resolution that you can render out of After Effects or Premiere to an MP4 is only 8K. So you will struggle using MP4s after a certain point. So what we've been doing is we've been outputting videos using QuickTime, 422 LT compression, and then we've been using a piece of software called Igloo Encode, which is on this computer. So this little free app that's on the Igloo website, I'll probably put a link wherever this video is hosted. You can simply drag and drop videos. So if you've made a really big QuickTime 422 video, you can bring it in here. You can simply drag and drop it onto here. And it will ask you where you want to output it, and you can just press go. And it's as simple as that. It will convert it into a format called HAP. So the HAP codec is it's designed to run on the graphics card rather than the CPU, so that it's a lot easier for the system to play back in real time. If you play back full res, very high data rate 422 files in here, you might get a bit of jittering and a bit of jumping when it's playing back. So if you're doing something with very high pixel count, I would recommend using this Igloo encode converter to turn it into a HAP format after you've rendered out your final video. Okay, so in the Igloo content that's 360, so if you've recorded something using an Insta camera or any of the 360 cameras that are available to you, you have to do something, an extra step in here. So if I add in new content video, if I load up a 360 video that we've recorded, so for example, I can just quickly go in here, Sheffield recordings, who knows. Okay. So this is how the video looks at the moment. It is in a format called equirectangular. So if I play this back, you can see the entire frame. I'll just make this a bit bigger so you can see it. If I treat it like a normal video and just make it nice and big so it goes on the floor, you will see in the webcam view at the bottom there that it's not mapping correctly. The resolution isn't all the way to the edges. The floor isn't on the floor, the walls aren't on the walls. You can see there's probably a bunch of sky up where the walls are, and you can see the rest of it on the floor, which isn't correct. So the Igloo core engine comes with a piece of warping technology called True Perspective. So any 360 content like this, including games engine content or anything that spits out an equirectangular 360 view, you will have to add on something called True Perspective. So if I go over to Effects, Add Effect, True Perspective. So this knows that it's an equirectangular format, and it maps it back to a transform that plays properly inside the Igloo. So if I play this video back again, you can see it's now, we've got the floor on the floor, and we've got the walls on the walls. if you do record something using the 360 camera and you're not happy with the way that the video is pointing inside the igloo, there are tools to move it around so that you can actually, place things on the walls where you would like them to be.